Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be talking about Halfeti from Penhaligons, so stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. Halfeti is the most popular and most well-known fragrance from Penhaligons, and from my understanding, this by far outsells everything else that they have. So I decided to make this the first one that I try from the Discovery set to see what all the hype or all the excitement is about with this fragrance. This is actually a rose oud fragrance, and for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of rose oud fragrances, but I still wanted to go into this one with an open mind. Now I will say I definitely get two different profiles on test strip and on my skin. I much prefer it on my skin. I will say that on the test strip, this is a very rose heavy fragrance. Going into the opening, it is a fairly rosy wood, and in the mid, the rose red kind of sweetness that it provides becomes very, very strong. So of course, this is something you want to be aware of because different skin pHs will affect the fragrance differently, and obviously since on paper it does have a very strong rose, I think some people will find that on their skin it has a strong rose. Now on my skin the rose is actually quite muted, which is a good thing for me. I'm not a huge rose and oud fan, so the fact that the rose tones down on my skin was actually a pleasant surprise for me, and actually made me enjoy this fragrance a lot more. When this one opens up, I do get a little bit of that rose, but it doesn't come across very floral, doesn't come across super flowery. Actually, it comes across more as a sweetness, and that sweetness has, I guess, a reddish quality to it, and it does kind of give the feeling of rosiness, but not particularly. So again, this rose does not come across super floral to me, and that's one of the things that I like about it. The oud in the opening is actually fairly present. It's not it's not even animalic at all. It reminds me a lot, or a little bit anyways, not a lot, but a little bit of oud wood, in the sense that it does have a bit of a spiciness, an almost slightly smoky quality, and the oud, the smell of that oud, the kind of oud that's used is very, very similar to that in oud wood. So it does smell very nice, but somewhat familiar definitely in the opening. I think the biggest difference there between oud wood and this fragrance is it's not as spicy, and it definitely has some sweetness with that rose in there. Now going into the mid, the spices for me, the saffron, cardamom, those all really start to fall by the wayside, and this becomes a much more woody fragrance. That oud definitely sticks in there, the rose tones down even more and starts to really disappear, and what you're left with in the dry down for me is cedar wood and sandalwood, a bit of creamy sweetness. So it is actually very nice in the dry down as well. There is this nice creamy quality to it, but it definitely doesn't have what I would consider a very oudy profile in the dry down. So the other supporting elements definitely come out a little bit stronger. There is more of a cedar wood vibe, definitely a more of a sandalwood vibe, and definitely more of a bit of a creaminess there. It is pleasant, but I guess on the downside for me, I do like the oudiness in the opening. I like how it has that sort of similarity with oud wood that has a kind of spicy oud. I really enjoyed that, and it's unfortunate that that doesn't last longer into the dry down. So that is one drawback to this fragrance, but overall it is a nice woody fragrance, and especially for somebody who isn't a huge fan of rose and oud combos, this is a well executed rose oud in the sense that it's not too much rose, it's not overpowered by rose, it just sort of adds a supporting sweetness to it. So I do enjoy that. I get very small hints of leather in this one, not really very prominent, definitely not something that is very strong. It's a little bit there on the dry down, and especially given what other people had said in Fragrantica, I was really hoping or expecting or wanting to hear or to smell more leather, but personally I don't really get it. It has a very slight leatheriness to it, but nothing that really pops out very strongly. Ultimately, this is also a very long-lasting fragrance for me. It's not one that really projects like crazy, and it is one that I go a little bit nose blind to, so I don't really get a lot of sillage with it personally, but it is one that definitely sticks around in the air as you move around, as you walk around. easily well past the 8-hour mark. So if you walk past somebody, even if you've just been in the hallway and you walk past someone and they walk in a little bit after, they're going to pick up on that. So it is one that has good longevity. It's not absolutely crazy beast mode, but it definitely has a nice scent cloud, and it definitely leaves a very nice trail. So it does have good performance in that regards, but again, it is not one that really shouts. And that is kind of nice with the kind of fragrance that is. It is a little bit more gentlemanly. It is a bit of a masculine fragrance. And so having a really shouty, kind of screamy fragrance doesn't really work for that kind of fragrance, in my opinion. I think those should be a little bit more subtle, have a little bit more of a scent cloud, and sillage more than actual beast mode projection. And that is what this fragrance does. So that really leads us into what I think this is good for. This is more of a formal occasion fragrance more than anything, in my opinion. Definitely does suit fall winter a lot better because it is very strongly woody, and it does have spicy sweet aspects to it, although the sweetness would not be too cloying at all in the summer. I do just find that because it is so woody, and it doesn't really have any fresh qualities to it, that it wouldn't be so well suited for the summer, although you could pull it off in the summer. Anyways, I still think this is a fairly classy, formal fragrance. I wouldn't personally wear this one casually, although, of course, you can wear things really whenever you want, but it is a very nice masculine fragrance. Overall, I think this is a nice fragrance, and I do think it does deserve some degree of praise. I don't know that I would say this is the greatest fragrance I've ever smelt, or I'm not sure this will be the favorite from the house, although it might well be. I'm going to have to check out more from the sample set to let you guys know. But it is a good start, and this is a nice fragrance. So if you do get a chance, actually I will say again, I did manage to pick up this sample set, and I think it was only about £20 when I bought it, which is actually quite a good price for a sample set. And it does have a lot of fragrances in it. It has 10 2ml fragrances, which is more than enough to wear it. I've actually worn this one about 5 times testing it out, and I still have quite a bit left. So the only real complaint with the sample set on whole that I will say, they are all dab-on. Not a big fan of dab-ons, but that's how it goes sometimes. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite from the house of Penhaligons? Have you checked them out at all? Are there any fragrances you guys want to check out? Leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.